we are live, everyone. Welcome to the Games Talk Live podcast. I am here, Jay Fonzarelli, along with my co-host, Hargeet and I. Another week, Hargeet. Another show. How have you been, my friend?
Been good. Is my camera working? Is it finally not worthless?
You're good?
It's working now. Yay.
Sounds good. Looks good.
Yeah, it's been bad for the last week or so, but hopefully now it's all solved.
Internet issue or nah?
No. I had to use my main computer kind of blew up, and so I was using a backup, and it didn't have a GPU to really do the processing. So
Nice.
it was doing so poorly. Now I'm back to having a full rig, so I have my video.
You need to start podcasting on that console. You know, it's just much more streamlined. Now I'm just playing.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So
that voice you hear, by the way, is none other than TimDog of RDX fame. Remember TimDog, a panel member of ours back in the day, RDX, when we were doing that. Tim, welcome to the show, my friend.
Yes, I was that super positive Xbox fan that defended them to the core every time. Yeah, that was me, RDX. I remember this feels like RDX, to be honest, just minus a couple guys, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's why it's going to be a good show. We have good chemistry, and we got a lot to talk about. So.
Yeah, we do. You missed it a week, about 2 weeks ago. We did an RDX kind of reunion. Dealer wasn't there, of course, but we did it. And we want to have more of those. And Tim, we'd like you to join sometime because we had a blast, man. It was a great show.
Yeah, we had special chemistry. So definitely, I would have made that one. I just, you told me a little bit.
It was kind of too late.
Yeah, it was too late.
Yeah, that's fine. But you're here now.
But I'm definitely down to do it in the future.
Oh, for sure, brother, for sure.
If we would love to get Dealer. That would be the
I know.
I would love to hear his opinion.
Everybody
I
wants Dealer.
He's not happy with what's going on.
You know, I don't know how he feels about all this stuff because the last time I talked to him, he just kind of said he's tuned out all of the gaming news and everything. Yeah. He's playing games and going out and touching grass and doing other things, just staying away from it all. And funny enough, last Wednesday, somebody asked about him and I said that I didn't talk to him for a while. Then he texted me that night. So maybe he heard me. I don't know, Dealer, if you're listening, we love you, brother. Call me. But yeah, he texted me, said he was okay, doing good, all that stuff. So that was cool, to hear from him. Yeah. But no, Tim, it's good for you to be, good to have you here. It's been a while since we've talked. A lot has transpired, obviously. On Twitter, you're no longer, xCloud TimDog. You're going by PSN TimDog now. And, I wanted to ask you, just why, because I'll be honest, when we were doing RDX, you were one of the guys that was super positive about Xbox, even when the chips were down. You were the one standing on top of, that pedestal, trying to keep everybody's morale up and all this stuff. And once games started going over to PlayStation, let's just say it, you were out, with a quickness. And I just wanted to ask you, what was it for you? What was the last straw? What did it in for TimDog?
I can remember the day I was driving and I was just kind of thinking, because sometimes I have a 40-minute drive to work and, sometimes an hour at home. And I remember driving and I just thought to myself, I said, if I'm being real with myself, if they do what I think they're going to do and try to do this third party, it's just too much. It's like you said, I was always there when they were down and I've always defended them. But this was a moment where you come to I guess, an impasse. And that was it for me. I said, they are going to basically kill their hardware. And then I remember having that thing and I remember having that thought. And Starfield obviously was the game that, I was like, if they do that game. And I remember I wrote an email to Phil and I detailed it. And, I basically said that, you can't have 10 pole AAAs going to the system. You have to have exclusives. And I could tell the way he answered, it was like a short answer. And he actually answered me like 3 days after that. He said another thing on top of it, like, "Oh, I really appreciate it." But I could tell, like, he wasn't in agreement to what I was suggesting. So I knew at that point, that was like, I remember I was in Vegas at that point. I'm like, okay. I said, this is really going down this route. And then it started to really gain steam. And then it really got out of hand where, like, there was a supposed insider from Microsoft, and he was like a leak, and he was, detailing stuff that was going on, like, to the day, like the meetings and stuff like that. And I just became really annoyed at the way they were handling this and the way they were going about it and the way they were being cagey about it. And then they had the podcast. And at that time, I was out because I saw the writing on the wall, but the podcast was just completely um, void of any sincerity, in my opinion. It was just, it really came off badly to me. And then, I was pissed for sure. I mean, I was pissed, and I put that out there, and that's just how I am. I wasn't gonna, I couldn't back them on this road, and the way I detailed it, I know you hit me up. You were like, you were right. The way I detailed it from then is exactly happening. Even with what they're doing now, I think that they're making mistakes. I think that they should just have, at that time, just been had transparency and been straightforward, and then maybe there could have been a chance that they could save some of this. But in my opinion, now it's like really far gone. Like, and when I say that, I mean that, and I feel that. But I've
Okay.
also heard from other people like
Yeah.
it's bad.
Well, let me ask you something, because and this is all rumor mill. What I'm about to ask you is stuff that I've been hearing for a while, and I don't know if it's true or not. I'm hearing that it comes from legit sources and stuff with Inside Xbox, but I want to ask you because maybe you have some insight on this. But is it a Phil and Matt Booty decision with all these games going to PlayStation, or is there some sort of internal struggle where Microsoft is forcing their hand? Because I keep hearing that rumor.
I can tell you that. I can tell you what's going on. That's not a rumor. Amy is not thrilled with Phil, and she made that apparent in when this whole shakeup started. She basically called bullshit on Phil, and Phil has to add up, and I think that maybe she has a dynamic of understanding it better, but Sati is completely clueless. And when I mean that he's completely clueless, does not know gaming. And that's nothing bad because some people didn't grow up with gaming. The people on this panel, the people listening to the show, we're all about gaming. Satya doesn't think about gaming, didn't think about gaming for years, doesn't play video games, doesn't understand the dynamics. So he's like out there. And I think, well, I know, and I've heard this from several people that very good sources that she just basically is like, "What are you doing?" And she was the part of the Call of Duty. She was like, "No, we're not just giving you Call of Duty." And then there was that whole internal, struggle about Call of Duty and Game Pass. There was, pushing like, "What's your plan?" So yeah, Phil got that, and it was no more a playground for him. It was like, "Hey, you really got to deliver." And Phil, and he's shown this in the past, he makes very long-term decisions that are short-term effective but long-term disastrous. And that spins back to 2017 when he cut basically all the marketing, and he cut the studios, and that got the margins within where he was making money for Microsoft. But that was another shit hit the fan. But this was like, super Microsoft getting involved, shit hits the fan. They looked at the books 3 times over, and quite frankly, they said where this is heading is no good. Where they're at, we're in a horrible position, and you need to do something. And his idea was, and he might have had limited opportunity here because he's really in a fucked up, excuse me my language, but he's in a real bad situation at that point. He then just says, okay, we're doing the full party. And that was third party, full party was done in January. When Timmy talked about that, Tim Stewart, had that speech to Wells Fargo. He
Yeah, you know what?
plainly skated out there.
Let me touch on that Tim Stewart speech, because I was blasted all over Twitter because I was laughing at, some Sony guys that were running with what Tim Stewart was saying, because at that time I didn't want to believe that they were going to put like some of their bigger games and stuff over on PlayStation. So I was like, they're not reading the whole thing, and Tim is not talking about that. But not even, a month later or something, when they decided the 4 games are going or whatever, I immediately switched tones on that Tim interview, and I said, well, Tim was speaking the truth. So I just wanted to say that because, I've never explained myself on Twitter about that, because I'm not going to explain myself to these knuckleheads going after me. But at the same time, sometimes we get things wrong, and I didn't want to believe Tim in what he was saying. Not because I've got any feelings or emotions wrapped up into this console war, but it's just because here's the thing. And I laid this out to Colt, Tim, and Hargeet. I was like, even though I'm not wrapped up emotionally into these plastic boxes, I can see where, and this is how I view it anyway, maybe you guys might disagree, or at least Hargeet, I don't know if you may disagree or agree, but how I view it is, I can definitely see by putting your exclusives onto competing platforms that it will indeed hurt your console or future consoles, and it will stunt the growth of your subservice. It just will. Not everybody's going to subscribe to your subservice, especially if they don't own a platform that has your subservice, like PlayStation. So I don't see much growth going there in the console space and Game Pass and stuff. So that's where I look to it. I can see that stuff happening. That's detrimental to the traditional Xbox console. That's how I view it. I don't know, Hargeet and Tim, if you guys see the same.
I agree 100%. Well, I'll let Hargeet say, because he hasn't said much, so I want to
Hargeet.
speak on it. What do you think?
So, look, I think long term this was going to happen anyway. And if you want to go down the path of buying massive publishers, you can't make them exclusive. It's just not viable, right? You're not going to take Call of Duty and Overwatch away from people. You're not going to take World of Warcraft and not put it everywhere. It's just the way you're gonna keep doing these things. It's just the way it is, right? So if you're looking at that business and say, all right, what does that look like going forward? There's probably going to be some exclusives, and there's probably not going to be some exclusives, right? Bethesda is not an easy one to just say, we're going to take it whole hog and say it's all exclusive. Though they said that at the beginning, and then they said, well, case by case, we'll still make decisions, right? And it's kind of been it's open at this point to kind of going over. Will Game Pass survive without a large contingent of players on the console? Well, this is the question. What is the console market for Xbox? It's not in Europe. It's never been in Europe. It's not in Asia. It's in the Americas, mostly in US. Well, okay, is that going to grow? I don't know. It's very hard to grow in territories where you're hated. It's just the way it is, right? And if you want somehow to make that a massive leap, that somehow they're suddenly going to sell 50 million consoles in Europe, it's just not going to happen. And so if you want it to grow, it's got to go elsewhere. It's got to go elsewhere. So if you want Game Pass to grow, it's got to be PC or mobile. It's got to go in those directions, right? That's where it's going to grow. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to move it into that direction. So I can see that vision moving forward. The Xbox brand has some relevance, right? It has relevance, especially in the US market. It has relevance in other pockets. But realistically, if you say Xbox in, pick a place, Poland, do you think it has heavy relevance? Where's this game, Indiana Jones, being made? In Sweden. Do you think it has any relevance? There's probably like 100 people who have an Xbox in Sweden. It's just not, it's not relevant, right? This is the problem, right? So to change that is huge work. So how does that work? I don't know, right? So your question is a simple one. However, it's a very complicated answer. It's not a simple thing. And when you have a massive multi-billion revenue generation, division in your company, you have to look at the whole thing. And it's got to be, unfortunately, without any emotion. You got to look at it as numbers and say, how the hell do you do this? Now, Tim, you're right. And here's the problem. Gaming is about emotions. Gaming isn't about facts and figures.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's the games themselves. Yes. The plastic boxes are. Well, let me ask you guys that this is a broader question here, and the chat can answer this as well. But do you guys see? Hold on, let me pull something up. I don't know what that noise is. I think I might be echoing through.
Me,
Yeah. Just mute it when you're not talking, Tim. That'll work perfect. Okay, so should we feel as console owners like we should be special? Okay, or I mean, like, do you think that we should feel like our investment of $500 should play games that only that box can play, or are we okay with these boxes being just vessels in which we just access the games? Is that okay with people?
I mean, listen.
That's what it comes down to. I mean,
I think it's a good question, to be honest. I personally feel like, listen, we're all here, especially this whole panel, we've grown up being treated, I think a Grub made a post about that, and like we were the center of attention, the console, and then made everything for that. And then that kind of changed, definitely for Xbox and maybe a little bit for Sony, but I think Sony still kind of gets that mentality. But I still want to be a console gamer, and we say $500. I'm willing to spend more money because I think just in general gaming has to charge more. But that's a personal opinion, another rabbit hole. But as a console gamer, I like that they curate to my experience that the whole cycles of getting consoles, and that's all exciting to me. I mean, one of the biggest things for me as a gamer is when new hardware comes. So it's like when I know that now that's probably not a possibility, or it's going to be some type of something that's going to be lukewarm. That's taking away a big portion of what I like about video gaming. I mean, the console, like just the whole the build up, the expectation, and everything. There's definitely a console.
it's exciting, new tech.
Yeah, but the console gamer
but
is a console gamer. We don't
but I'll
have to be
say that why not?
PC gamers.
Yeah, but then why not be excited for that, right? There's a new ROG Ally X that just came out. There's a Lenovo equivalent. There's an Aya Neo. There's all sorts of consoles that just happen to be PCs. And you could always look at PC from a tech perspective, and things change much more rapidly there. And there's much more to look forward to. New CPUs coming from AMD, like right now. There's new CPUs coming in, right? GPU coming out next year from NVIDIA, right? There's always new stuff coming. Right, but you can limit yourself to 7 or 8 year generations, or you can say I can be excited for stuff coming out 6 months from now, and then another 6 months from now, and then another 6 months from now. I can just be excited about tech, right?
Yeah, but that's I think
a different world.
I'm just saying. I think the difference is though you have people like the people on this panel like who are like in the top 5 percentile of like tech. Like we really love tech. Not the average kid or the kid playing lacrosse that plays video games going to know about anything. They just want a console to play. Like I just think Sony gets it. I do think that I think Pro's going to have a
TimDog,
big
that's not true either. Kids aren't buying consoles. Kids are playing on mobile
kids are buying
PC.
PCs now. They are migrating, but
they're not
just
going
overall,
to console.
I'm just thinking that there is a console market. I think Sony proves that. It's just that Xbox at this point is now.
Do they? I mean, they're going to hit their same ceiling. Xbox is going to hit their same ceiling and be 50, 60 million.
It's 150 million they're on pace for, and they haven't had a price drop. They're doing good, but just the market and the whole economics of gaming has went a little awry, and that is true. And I don't think that Phil or Xbox, is making any of that stuff up. But I just don't think that giving away your most sacred thing is the right thing, and then also potentially canceling your hardware. I mean it's just why as a console, even just somebody who likes consoles, I'm going to go with Sony every time now because I just don't trust what Xbox has, and I get it. You could do PC, you could do all that stuff, and maybe that becomes the most popular thing. But for me, I still think that the console has at least 10 years.
So let me ask you something. You said you are now going to just buy PlayStations. Now, why exactly is that? What is your reasoning for jumping ship from Microsoft? In something in which you love the ecosystem, everything about it. You had all your game library there. Like, what made you jump to
Still have my
PlayStation?
game library. Well, I'll tell you, to be honest, I just felt like, you know what, I'm going to give PlayStation a try. And I actually gave it without being having a prejudice against it or going in just with a stupid mentality like I was going in. I actually just gave it a shot. And you know what? As a console, it's a fantastic console. It does things like the controller really impressed me. I have to say that really impressed me. And also their games, just playing just some of their games, you just know that the level of quality is just so much higher than what like I was seeing on Xbox. And I think Xbox is good. I just think that I think Sony definitely got the premium feel to it. When this generation at least, I get that argument, or I saw that. Am I a big Xbox, a PlayStation guy? No, I'm not even close. I know that they have their community heads and their people. I'm never going to be on that level. And there's part of me that might maybe was considering even going back to Xbox and playing them both, but at this time, I'm fine just playing PlayStation and not paying for Game Pass. You know what I mean? Because I know that
Well,
those games will always come back if I need them or whatever. But right now, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the Pro, and like I said, I'm not on the same level as a fan. I don't think Sony does everything right, but I do think I definitely wasn't giving them the credit that they deserved over the years. I think that they might not talk and they might not always be in the news, but you know what, they they know when they screw up and they fix things when they screw up, and they do a good job in a lot of areas, and they do produce a lot of fun things for their fans, like
well, yeah,
games that are amazing.
but here's the thing. I needed to ask you something else concerning your exit from your exodus from the Xbox community, so to speak. I know you still have your Xbox. I know you'll still play your Xbox and everything because your game library is there. But what made it what got you to the point where you were personally attacking some of the executives?
Well, I mean, listen, I just think that personal attacking is. I don't think that you're talking about a business, and we're talking about a situation where, they deserve criticism. They
No, of course,
deserve
the
to get,
business as a whole, yes. But like,
and I look at the whole thing. Listen, even though that they can say they're my friends, they're really not my friends. At the end of the day, I hope
oh,
my
I've said
opinion.
that many times, Tim.
Yes,
These
yes,
corporations are these execs,
right.
not your friends.
Right, exactly. But I mean, I'm at the, I think that they deserve a lot of criticism. I don't like. Listen, if I felt like they were being sincere and not the way they went about things, and the way they went about things, they haven't been upfront with fans. They've been very meekish, and they've been very hiding behind a lot of things. That just pisses me off, and I have no filter sometimes
Gotcha. So it was
on
just like an
Twitter.
emotional
But I was
outburst.
always like
Because
that.
I've seen some of your
Do
tweets
I
where you're
hate
like,
Phil? Do I hate these
yeah,
guys?
yeah,
No, no.
okay,
But as
okay.
far as if I'm going to be real, they fucked it up. They
He's in
fucked it up, and
charge,
they
right?
deserve.
That's yeah, he's the
Yeah,
guy at the
exactly.
top
It's
right
like a
now. Yeah,
baseball team.
yeah.
It's like if like Art Howe. I remember Art Howe. Love the guy, but he sucked as a manager, and I had to call it
Gotcha.
out. I got to get rid of him. You know what
Gotcha.
I
I
mean?
just didn't know
So
if there was something there that happened in the DMs between you
no, and
two. I
people have
had no
asked me.
idea.
No, nothing. Nothing like that happened. I just kind of felt like I just felt like it was fake, and that annoyed me. And it annoyed me that maybe even myself that I believed that it was something that it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect him to spill the beans or anything, but to me, I get that he never did any of that stuff, but he did I think he always was clear about being transparent with fans, and that just went away, and I didn't like that. Like, I do
Yeah.
think that they could have handled this so much better,
I
and they'd be in
appreciate you
a better
answering that.
situation. It's
So-
fine. It's a good question.
So here, I'm going to let you guys, I've heard some things about what could possibly be happening going forward with Xbox. And certain things, like pretty much every ABK, every Bethesda game going forward will probably make its way over, whether day and date or on a delay. Okay. But they will still have exclusives from what I'm hearing. And those exclusives will be games such as like Gear 6, the next Halo, things like that. But I'm hearing like pretty much all of Bethesda, all of ABK, it'll pretty much be going over, whether
So say that.
delayed or not.
So say that. Why can't they do that? That's what annoys the fuck out of me.
But
Franz.
here's the
If they
caveat
do
here.
say that,
Here's the weird thing though.
that's
Let me
fine.
let me
That
finish
makes
this,
sense.
because you're right. Messaging is all over the place. It sucks. But here's the thing that's kind of weird that I don't understand. If you're saying you're going to have future exclusives in some of your legacy franchises like Gears, like Halo, I'm also hearing there is still possibilities of some of those older titles getting remastered for the PlayStation, but they're not getting the new ones. And I'm like, why?
Exactly. Doesn't make sense,
I don't
right?
get that. What
the
doesn't make sense is
reality
this.
is-
Here, I'm going to play something for you, Tim. What doesn't
Okay.
make sense is this. I'm going to play this for both of you right here. Let me see if I can get this. Can you hear it?
I can see it.
Can't hear it? Oh, no.
That's what-
It's not playing.
Now,
I
I'll
know,
start
I
just
can tell
saying
you. There it
Machine
goes.
Games is doing such a nice job with that game. I thought it showed really well. And that's the most important thing is quality of the games, teams that are getting support that can go build the game. And it was just nice. The long gameplay segment that they had, I thought was fantastic. Going to the PlayStation announcement, obviously last spring, we launched 4 games, 2 of them on the Switch, 4 of them on PlayStation, and we said we're going to learn. We said we'd watch, and I think at Showcase I might have said from our learning we're going to do more. What I see when I look is our franchises are getting stronger. Our Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been.
Amazing.
So I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been. And we run a business. Like, it's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of the delivery that we have to give back to the company, because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing in what we're able to go do. So I look at this, how can we make our games as strong as possible? Our platform continues to grow, both on console, on PC, and on cloud. And I think it's just going to be a strategy that works for us. And the last thing I'll probably say is I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and now people are looking for ways to grow. And I think that us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways that games were built and distributed. That's going to change. That's going to change for all of us. But the end result has to be better games that more people can play.
All right. Yeah, there's some echo for sure. Gosh. All right. I'm sorry about that echo. But anyways, you guys heard what Phil said anyway, I hope. Hargeet? Okay.
Yeah, I saw.
So what do you think his reaction is to that, games going over to PlayStation like that? He's
Well, and
obviously-
Nintendo.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And by the way, we have an echo. We still have an echo of some sort. I don't know.
I think, do we still have the echo? It should be gone. Should be
It
gone.
sounds like a speak, Hargeet.
Is it?
Hello? It's better
Now
now.
it's better.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. It's gone.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, look, I mean, is this not like obvious? Is it like you can kind of hear it when they're saying it, right? You can read between the lines. This is kind of the direction they were going in, right? They're not just going to put 4. We all knew it was going to be more, right? So
Yeah.
what
We
was the
suspected.
assumption? That was the end?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
A lot
Tim,
of
you've been
people
saying it.
thought
They're going to do
that.
everything. but I don't think it's going to be everything. But I think there's going to be a lot that will go over, and but you have to look at the long game. If they're going to go buy another one, then what's the thing that's going to allow them to do that is going to say, well, I'm not stopping it from being everywhere. In fact, I'm going to grow them, and therefore they're going to make more money, and therefore Xbox will be more profitable, and therefore Microsoft will be happy. That's what they got to do, right? That's what he's got to do. That's a balancing act, but it is what it is. I think they're going to go after more big IP. That's really the thing to do, because what you want to see is that top 10, they're dominating in that top 10. They've already got a couple, they're going to try to get a couple more. So whatever they buy, look at those games. Those are the ones they're going to go after.
That's all they
want
want
to have the top
IP at this. They don't want they don't want double IP. They want large IP with known license,
large returns,
identity, like Indiana Jones, like Blade, like whatever show, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, and that's smart in some aspects. But what that spells out is compulsion. Double Fine, all these other games. Like, I would kind of be worried if I was them. I think that they just want to be a big publisher with big
why would they be worried
games?
About
I just don't know if that they can make the money that they want. They're just they could.
I think those are the games that'll stay exclusive. I think they'll be the ones that'll just be Game Pass type games.
Like a game like Ninja Theory.
Hellblade
2, they probably lost money on that. They don't.
No,
I think they want.
They made money.
Put it this way: I think they want more sure bets. Okay, and I just feel like the studios that they have, they're gonna slim down, but they might acquire another publisher. Undoubtedly, will be third party, day and date, whatever it is. It'll be big.
Yeah.
Could be whatever
Take
it is.
Two or EA or something like that. That's going to be or Epic or something, right?
Yeah, I think that's their plan moving forward. Though they want to be the biggest third, if not by a large amount, the biggest third party publisher.
So why is that bad?
It's not bad, but I don't have a console. That's where it's bad. Is that good?
Well, why would you not have a console? You can still keep having a console. If you want to have it, they'll keep selling it.
Because I gotta see it to believe it. First of all, because their console numbers at this point are so so down that really, and you even said they have one
spot. Kind of in line with where they were last gen. So is it really that far off?
It's been a lot worse than last gen. If they didn't have the Activision, they would have been down the last 3 quarters. They would have down in revenue, down hardware. It's been drastically, like last gen. They had the refurbs, which sold well at the time. They don't have anything. They get the stupid Galaxy half deal, what nobody cares about, and they say it's overpriced. But their hardware in I hear them say console, and all I can think about is next gen. Samsung or Toshiba making a console. And that's gonna be a hybrid type thing. Yeah, that sucks to me. Especially when I have something like PlayStation, because it's just not. Why? It's not a console. Because it's just not. Because how do I know if they're gonna be good at it? It's a crapshoot. It's not Xbox. Is that hard to understand? You said it yourself, Hargeet. I listened to you saying, how the hell can they do this? This is all going to be the worst. And you detailed it the most. You were one of the guys that sent me over the edge. So you know what I'm talking about. This is not...
Hargeet, it's your fault. He left Xbox.
It's my fault.
It's your fault.
I remember listening to you. I'm like, this motherfucker's right. He's completely right. And what you said was
it's a timing headache, right? Because I've always said, look, I think eventually exclusives are going away for them. They're going to get rid of them because they're going to go.
They're dead. They don't like exclusives.
No, and they're going to go the PC route.
Is gone.
Right, and the PC is going to be much more console friendly. It's going to be a console experience, but on a PC. That's where I think it's going to go. It's a question of timing.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to do something PCS. There's going to be it's the next.
No, look, here's the thing. The next console is going to be a traditional Xbox console, but it may have access to the Steam library and also Epic launchers, basically. There might be PC launchers on the console.
Are they going to do that in Europe? I mean, is it really a cost-effective move to do that in Europe? I can understand the States.
Do you know? I'll be
sure.
shocked if they can make that happen. You know why, guys? Because it can barely run the Xbox launcher now, like the UI and stuff. Like, how are they going to have Steam and Epic and all these other launchers? I don't know how they're going to do it.
Plus.
But
the same way you have Ubisoft Plus.
I'm
right?
I'm just making a joke,
right?
But at the end of the day, like it's going to be a traditional console, from what I'm hearing. Still, that's
and it's going to look.
Go ahead,
it is still going to be traditional. And look, it already is Windows, right? It's just how much of a level of abstraction do they have from the underlying capabilities to allow things like Steam or Epic to show up, right? At some point, you can do the same thing on any other device. So a ROG Ally 11, whatever the hell the next one's going to be called, could be an Xbox. And that's the question. If that happens, why is that a problem?
Didn't they say that? Well, I mean, I think it's a problem if it's depending on what it really is and what it becomes and how it is. If it's really, it could be cheesy or it could be way expensive. Jez says it's going to attract a niche. They're going after a niche market. So I mean, then there's the handheld thing. Like, are they going to do a handheld? I don't know. See, the thing with me is that I could definitely know there are people within Microsoft that are saying, hey, how do you give this guy money at this point for anything, for hardware? Because just look at these numbers. Now, with that being said, they had a good month because of EA, the game NCAA. They actually were up 44% in NPD. So, I don't know. They definitely need to sell consoles, in my opinion. I hope that it's a traditional console.
I don't think it goes away, Tim. I think you're pushing it too far. I think it's going to be fine. The question is it sustainable enough to keep Game Pass going? And I think that's where they need to vector out, and they have been. They've been trying to move to PC and mobile, and eventually the mobile thing will happen. I don't know when, but they are kind of slow.
But they're having problems with Game Pass too. They're having problems with growth on every platform because the facts are they're not marketing the thing right, and it seems like
we should get into that.
Did you guys? This whole
did you watch that
not being marketed
interview?
No. What happened?
Pachter and Jaffe, right? So Jaffe interviewed Pachter on exactly Game Pass. And if you haven't watched it, Fonz, you should watch it first and we discuss it. But I think it's good for you to watch it first and then we can discuss it. Tim, you already watched it?
I watched it, but when he was when he was going to give his answer, I actually had to go. Like, so I was watching because I'm very interested too.
He's got great points. I'm not going to ruin it. I think you guys should watch it. I think
it's Pachter.
It's like 25 minutes.
Hold up, it's Pachter.
He's not wrong.
Pachter sometimes gets a lot wrong.
Well, Pachter got
he's not an idiot. I'll tell. Of course, he's not stupid, but
he's good.
What he said was spot on.
Okay, what did he say? What did he say?
All right, fine. I'll just go. Essentially, Xbox couldn't market it if it fell in their lap. That's the problem. They're not strategically doing anything correct with getting it out there, right? When you go to market with Amazon on the Fire Stick and then say you need to pay $20, that's not going to attract a customer. You need to give away 6 months. You just give it away and say, here it is. If you're on a Fire Stick, you just have this. Try it. See what you think, right? If you like it, here's a tier for you, $10, right? And so you have to think about it from that strategy level. But there's so much more to it. They just don't market it correctly to make it so that people understand what it is. He's like, yeah, I think it was Jaffe who said this. Like, I was in an Uber, and the guy who's a gamer had no idea what the hell Game Pass is. Right? And he's like, how can that be? How is it that they have this awesome thing, and they haven't gotten it out to the gamers? Forget about people who aren't gamers. To the gamers, they haven't told them what the hell it is, right? So, I mean, their marketing on it is just abysmal. And if they don't want, now it'll keep going. Eventually, what will happen is the people that are in charge of that marketing will go away, and that did just happen, by the way, right? The person who was supposed to be doing that marketing, he left, right? And that somebody else has to come in and have, here's your targeted goal, get it done, right? And that needs to come up from all the way to the top. Maybe it is Amy, maybe it is Satya that says, I don't care about your bullshit. I want that number at 50 million in 2 years. Get it done, right? And so you set the strategy and get going. And unfortunately, they don't have that fire to get it going. That's just kind of how it's been, unfortunately. They're just not pushing for it, right? I shouldn't have to tell somebody what Game Pass is. If you're a gamer, you should already know what it is, right? I don't have to tell you what Nintendo is. I don't have to tell
He's
you what
right.
PlayStation
You're
is.
right. You're right.
You already know.
At this point,
you already know, right? And this is their fault. They need to stop doing that. And that's what Pactor's saying. Like, look, you need somebody to say this should be as ubiquitous as Netflix. I don't need to tell you what Netflix is. I don't need to tell you what Disney Plus is. You already know.
Facts. And you know what they are?
Right?
You know what Netflix is? A place where people subscribe to exclusive content. That's what it is.
And so, like, and it's fine. Exclusive, and honestly, it doesn't just the fact that there is a value proposition available to you, you don't even know about it. That's a fail, right? That's on them, and that's a fail, and they need to get better at it. And that's what he was saying. And he's spot on. He's spot on.
Their marketing and messaging has been terrible. You know what? It's proof right there recently with this whole announcement of the release date for Indiana Jones, and then right after that, you're going to say spring 2025 going to PS5. And it's like, wait a minute. Why, number one, would you mention it right after you announce the release date? Why don't you let the Xbox guys have one for a day? You know, something. Why you got to be like that right away?
That pissed me off.
But here's the worst part about that. It's why are you staggering it at all? Why not just release it day and date for PlayStation at that point? What is the point of the stagger?
I'm so annoyed by the fact that they even bothered to give us a 3-month exclusivity. I mean, what do you think, Tim? Does it seem reasonable?
I like I said, I just like I think when you guys, I think the same way you guys. I just listen. I think that put it this way: if guys like this, the people, just you two, just were making decisions, I think that you would make better decisions. Like I don't think that it's so bad. Like at this point, just take the mask off and just say, here's what we're going to do. Have a plan. Say, well, we're going to make all Activision games day one. We're going to make all Bethesda games day one. Gears, certain games, we're going to have exclusivity, and we're going to at least keep them for at least a year or 2 years or maybe forever. You know what I mean? They have to be that. It's come with and just set the bar and make people understand where it's like you're doing what they're doing now is like they're caught in between. Like they want to get to the PlayStation 5 people, and you're going to do that in spite of the Xbox guys now. Like when I see Boom and King, I felt bad for them. Like, why don't just put it in a blog post after the show? Give them 15 minutes, and and then do it the way Xbox did it.
Oh no! To have Keeley of all people up there do it was crazy because Keeley was giddy with joy to be able to announce that. You know,
saying one more thing.
Yeah, and one more thing. I'll let Machine Games tell you. And I thought Machine Games, like somebody there was going to come up and say it's coming. No, it's just the splash screen. You know, the thing is, it just makes no sense to me. The delay in release by 3 months.
Yeah,
that's
it's
nothing.
A slap in the face to both sides. There's no point.
There is absolutely 0 point because one, people will wait 3 months. They're not going to run out and buy an Xbox for 3 months because I sure as hell wouldn't. And even if I was the biggest Indiana Jones fan, I would not run out and buy that. Even if it was a Rockstar game, and I love Rockstar, I will wait the 3 months. That's not that long. So why it didn't just come out day and date, beyond me. Could this be another test? Who knows? You know, they did the test with 4 games, just 4 games. And that test, in my opinion, was kind of a failure because they didn't even get any sales with those games.
Well, they got sales, but listen.
It was horrible sales.
The wheel was running. They're going. There's a lot of people. See, I think that there's an internal struggle too that has been going on. I think that there are people who have legitimacy who will say that the exclusives matter, and there's just like, hey, let's say that this won't be exclusive, like Hellblade, but I mean, in reality, I just think at this point, if they could kind of have like a state of the union of Xbox where they could just outline it, commit to hardware. I think that could go a lot way to just.
I mean, they did, right? They did commit to hardware, but who knows if it's true, right? But let's assume they are going to do it.
exactly. But I think that like they need to calm the waters a little, and I just think that they need to try to just I don't know. I mean, it might be too late, but they just need to. I just think the slow drip of all this is just absolutely the worst way to erode your brand. It's like it's the fastest way to lose people.
Well, you know what it seems
Because
like, Tim, and I understand from your point of view. It almost seems like they aren't really catering to the console fan base enough. That's what it feels like, and I think I would agree with
definitely
that
not.
because it seems like they're looking more past the console, and I get it. As a business, you want to be everywhere, especially with a sub service, everything. You want your stuff out there on every platform to maximize those profits, but in turn, you're going to get some people upset with you. You're going to make people feel like they bought a console that isn't special, like Grub and I myself posed earlier. But the thing is, like what he was explaining there, Phil, he's explaining that their business and this is what they're going to do and stuff. At the same time, it will always feel like the console's on that bubble of going away. And I don't think it'll go away. Here's the thing. In North America, I think you're going to have that console with Xbox for some time, especially they've already talked about making the next one. You're going to have another 8 years plus of Xbox consoles. After that, who knows if you'll even have a PlayStation, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because the industry, it's not just Xbox is changing really fast. Xbox just seems to be way ahead of the curve on doing these changes and making these changes. And I'm not saying that PlayStation's necessarily going to do the same exact thing, but they are doing very similar things at a much slower rate.
Right.
They are. They've already started doing that. So, Tim, what happens when PlayStation starts putting more stuff on competing platforms?
Or when the Steam store shows up and the Epic store shows up on Xbox and all those PlayStation games are now available on Xbox.
I mean, listen, I guess we'll see when that day comes. I do think Sony is right now really in a console state of mind. Like they definitely. I like what they said when they said that they are going to have games, and then they can try to get more people on games through PC by staggering it. When they made that comment. I like that. I like that attitude. I wish Xbox did, but I understand Xbox is way different. And as far as Game Pass, like, you mentioned something, Hargeet, about projections. They do have projections. I'm sure, as you know, that they're 50 million by
Their numbers.
2027, 100 million by 2030. Now, listen, 130 by 20 million is not happening. I would say 50 million by 2027 is going to be a hard feat in itself. I mean, they're going to have to scramble to get to that, and that's to the point where
it depends on the content you have. But you're right in one way because the people that play the large number of players that play out there play either free to play games or they have the handful of games they buy. Right. That is not a market they're going to easily change into playing a lot of different games.
Mute your phone when you're not talking, Tim, because I can hear the echo.
Yeah,
thank you.
But I think like the headache with assuming that they can't grow. I talk to so many gamers who have no idea it even exists. That just shouldn't be the case, right? They could easily get to 50. They could get to 100. That's half the console like people. But I'm talking like they have mobile. They still have that. They still have PC, right? If they can get like out of the whatever billion players on PC to get like 5-10% of that, that's huge. That's huge. Well, they just need to kind of go after it.
I agree, and I think that they need somebody with that type of mentality like that you're pushing. It's like I think that's also like there's not been there's not been consequences. I feel. And I don't want anybody to lose their job, but I mean, there has to be things like
I get you,
lose a platform.
You're right, because at some point you do have to tie. Like if you're like an average employee, that's one thing. But if you're like a director or higher, Well, guess what? At that point, you're taking on responsibility for the company's bottom line, right? And so you're right. They have to be held accountable to that. Not us. We can't do anything about it, but they have to do
Right.
that. Satya has to do that and say, hey, you were tasked to do this. It hasn't happened. What's going on?
100%. Why?
Right?
And to bring it up, like what? Like what's the thing with Call of Duty? I mean, that infuriates me too. You can't market Call of Duty on Game Pass. Is that true? Is that made up? Why is that even being talked about?
I haven't seen it.
But that's the thing. They're saying that they're not going to do it, and for some cockamamie reason, like oh well, they don't want. I don't know what I just heard that. It's like Jaffe was.
No. Call of Duty's coming into Game Pass, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
but it's not being marketed for Game Pass. It's being marketed for Xbox, not Game Pass. And that's bad.
Crazy. So like stuff like that, like that's a home run, like, and that's a big thing. Call of Duty, like that. When you talked about like it becomes synonymous with Xbox Game Pass and people understand it, Call of Duty's that thing that could maybe flip that for them. And now I hear that they can't market it. So it just seems like when they do something good, there's always something bad attached to it, or there's always something questionable. So I don't know. I mean, that's for Game Pass. I think it's great, and it is its own identity at this point, or it's its own platform. I feel like it's just like own
But
brand.
it's not growing. That's the problem.
But it's not growing, and that's the thing. And it really should have been growing. That was me 3 years ago. All of us. Like it was. Listen, you could say that Xbox didn't have exclusives. It didn't, and that was a problem. But they always had games on Game Pass. If you're a Game Pass user, you really are pretty much have been fed for a long time. And that just never translated. It was always like, oh, there was always lukewarm hype on it. Like it never, the deal. It was best deal in gaming, and I still think it is. And I can think they could charge $30. But obviously, I'm not telling them to do that. But I think that's how good Game Pass is. It doesn't get the credit it deserves. $70, Indiana Jones. Call of Duty, $70. Xbox Game Pass, $40 for those games because you own it. So it's $140 to a $40 price difference. That's $100 in just two games that you must have, right? So like, why isn't it doing? It really is one of the mysteries of the world. Why the hell hasn't Game Pass done as well? And I don't have that answer. There's a lot of things that when I was in full blown on Xbox, I just thought that it would just one day click for everyone. Because it is. So, I'm harsh on Xbox, but if I'm being really real about it, I supported the cloud, and I still thought it was going to be very good. It didn't turn out to be good. It didn't turn out to get the numbers.
Gee, somebody called that one.
But why, Hargeet? GeForce Now is incredible. It's a great piece of tech.
It's the same problem no matter what you do, right? The people who are going to latch onto that have good internet next to the data center, and the people that it really targets, because you have the affordability to buy a console, so you can use it if you want, but it's a convenience.
Yeah,
right. The people who target don't have data centers close to them, so it's always going to be horrible latency.
So they don't have enough data centers then, because, or at least near me,
where you are. You're right next to a data center. You live literally in Silicon Valley.
And there is a stark difference between xCloud and GeForce Now when it comes to latency.
Yeah,
I can't explain it.
Theirs is up in Seattle. Not in whatchamacallit, San Francisco.
Okay.
I think their servers are up in Seattle, and that's not that far away, and that still makes you feel like it's worse. It's just that much distance. Now imagine if you're in South Africa and you have to hit something that's in Uganda.
But by the way, even though we've seen Xbox's financials, their reports and everything stating that they've made revenue and stuff like that last quarter, they still have their projected goals. They did not meet those. They're not meeting those from what I'm hearing. And the reason why they are doing what they're doing is because they're not meeting the goals, and ABK. It's as simple as that. It was $70 billion.
Yeah.
They have to recoup their money somehow. They are going to get it. They're going to put these games out on other platforms to do so.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, again, we're looking at most, or if not all the Bethesda ABK games, they're pretty much going to go over. Starfield, from what I hear, it's going over. It's just not yet, but it's going.
Yeah.
I even heard, you know, as the rumor, everybody else heard it, Forza 5. I heard Forza 5 is still going.
That's coming for sure.
It's coming.
That's definitely going, yeah.
But that's another one, though. But Tim, that's another weird one because I heard Forza 5 is going, but not Forza 6. Forza 6 is not going to go over there. It's just it's going to be a one-off, and I'm like, I don't believe that. That's kind of weird.
Right now they might be saying that, but as time goes on, because listen, Forza 5, are they going to enhance it? I'm sure that they are because I think the Pro Sony requires you to enhance for the Pro. If that game comes out for the Pro, even if it comes out for PlayStation 5, if Sea of Thieves is doing $1 million, that's going to do, I'm going to say $5 million on PlayStation, and that's a lot. And then you're getting a big taste of money. Forza Horizon's a tremendous game. It's, you know, it has over 40 million players. You're going to get 5 million console sales. And then listen, it's like, you know, you go to the well, and then you're going to keep coming back. It's just one of those things, just natural to say, wow, imagine if we had Forza 6 day one. And then it just becomes a thing where it's like, it's just about money, and it's like, yeah, we can release to, you know, this amount of people.
It's just about money, but
yeah, and so, but that's why inevitably, I believe that if not all, their games are going to go on PlayStation. Games that maybe suck, that don't do it, like Hellblade, it was a good game, but you know, didn't make any money, didn't have any hype. That game won't come over. Obviously, Redfall won't come over, but you sure hell's thing of Avowed, which actually got some really good news today on some information that has me intrigued. I'll be honest. If that's like a super hit, then that'll go to PlayStation because it'll just say, you know, it's going to do well. It's you know, and hopefully Avowed is, but I don't know if you guys heard the news on Avowed, like some of the tidbits about it, like the 12, like they have more than 10 endings, you know, which is really cool. Yeah. And Destin said he killed some virgin. I just thought it was funny, but like supposedly it sounds like a messed up game. Like you could you could do things that like I guess are kind of unconventional, and as gamers, I think gamers always love that shit when it's warped. So I don't know. I hope Avowed is good, but like I said, if it's like a big hit, it's right over. You know, I think it's gonna hand right over.
Like I've heard, most Bethesda games, pretty much all the future Bethesda games will be going over, but whether staggered or day and date.
That's an Obsidian.
But like Elder Scrolls 6, for instance, a lot of people they're convinced that that's not going to go over. That's going over for sure.
Blade,
that's going to PlayStation.
Day one.
And you got to understand, they told you in the past. I mean, they told you that legacy titles were going, and a lot of people just took it as, you know, older titles that were, you know, legacy. But I look at it as legacy franchises are going over, and the one thing that really drove that home is Doom: The Dark Ages. That's going day one to PlayStation 5.
And notice how that didn't cause an uproar. You know why? Because they just told you up front.
Yeah. There you go, Hargeet.
Really,
if they had just done that with indie, it's multi-plat.
So much of a communication. I think would have been fine. You know, with all of our discussions tonight, a lot of it's communication. Like they're just really bad at communicating. Yeah. They're really bad at laying out a plan. They're
too wishy-washy. Right? But I think they're just trying to figure it out themselves, you know, which is not good, right?
Shout out to Fun Speculation.
They're on the fly. They're on the fly, and that's where it comes off that way.
Yeah. Shout out to Fun Speculation Mav in the chat. He says, I think it'll be whole slate now. You know, a lot of Xbox guys are thinking that way. You know, even I myself, it wouldn't surprise me if they put Halo Infinite out on PlayStation at this point. Why? Because their messaging is terrible. They're not telling you what they're doing. So they could do anything at this point, and it wouldn't surprise me. It just wouldn't. The whole Indiana Jones thing, when I heard about that last Wednesday, and it came from Rand, by the way. That was the source I heard it from.
Of course, Rand knows everything.
And Rand knew it. Rand said it was going over, and as soon as he said it, I was telling people in chats, hey guys, it's going to be Indy on a 3-month delay. It's going to be Indy on a 3-month delay. Everybody was like, no. But it didn't shock me even when he told me. I was like, the only thing that shocked me was the 3-month delay. That baffles my mind. To me, it might as well be day and date. It does not make sense. It's just another boneheaded move by Xbox. It makes no sense.
100%.
By the way, Ace Out Gaming with a $4.99 says, Fonz, do you get a discount code for Valari? Yeah, I do have a discount code for you. It's in the description of this video here. It's Fonz15, by the way. Fonz15. Fonz15. But also, time to sell your PS5 and build and not the PC Master Brother. What? I don't know what you tried to say, but I have a PC. And I'm enjoying it. But no, I'm not selling the PS5. Somebody argued with me, by the way, on Twitter, told me that he was going to make a bet with me. It was Face23 BKNY, by the way, and he's not here today. And that's because he was wrong. He tried to bet me, and he should have took the bet, because the bet was, I sell my PS5 if I'm wrong. And I said, if you're wrong, buy me a PS5 Pro. And guess what it was? He showed me a video. He tried to tell me at first that Wukong on the PlayStation on quality mode ran at 50 frames and up to 60. And I told him there's no freaking way. He shows me this video, and it shows this guy, it's just your average Joe at home with a FPS counter. And he has this FPS counter where it shows that it's getting above 50 frames, but it's right next to the other modes. And you can clearly see it's hitting 30 frames. On that quality mode. And I'm like, dude, I know what I'm looking at. That's not 50 plus frames. That guy's equipment is bad. I don't know. Sure enough, today we see videos, Digital Foundry, everybody else, 30 to 36 frames tops on quality mode. And it's horrible. It's not a good 30. The frame timing is terrible.
Yeah.
So I put that up there, and guess what? Ghost.
There's a lot of input
not
lag,
talking.
so it's not really running well.
Yeah, so he's not talking about it. But I just thought it was funny. Fantas Archer, I hope I didn't butcher that, but Fantas Archer with a 5, thank you very much, says, can anybody answer why Microsoft is bad at marketing and why nobody presses Microsoft about it? Too expensive?
We all press them about it,
strategic,
dude.
can't hire an agency, marketing bad, why? No, we do it all the time. We've been doing it on RDX, me, Tim, and frickin' Hargeet for 7 years.
Yeah,
like 7 freaking years. Tim,
I will
it goes
say,
back to day one. We talked about their bad messaging and marketing.
I will say that the showcases have gotten better. Some pieces of marketing have gotten better, but the rest of it, they still have a long ways to go.
Very, very. And you know what? And they don't need many people. Hell, they can hire Colt Eastwood to market for them.
Agreed.
He could do it. He could do it. I think
maybe they should go after
Pachter
and have him do it.
One thing special about the Xbox community is you have so many people, whether it's Ben Kenobi, whether it's Cloverall with his studios, or just so many unique people that do so much. They've done so much marketing for Xbox, just by having their Twitter and stuff like that. But I think that to be honest, I think Kroll has been very outspoken. I think that, I think some of his ideas would work, or the things that he says are true. And one of the things is the messaging and just the marketing definitely doesn't. It seems it just goes back. It goes back to that question: why, just even with Game Pass, is it not? It's not widely known, or it's not that spot, or why did just Xbox kind of always seem like it's, I
Well,
don't
look,
know. Like, their
bro.
marketing is definitely not great. It's just,
It's,
I hate to say it, but it's part of the problem. But who knows if I don't know if they get the same amount. I know Sony spends a lot more money on marketing for a long time, but that was because you could justify it being they're leading in hardware and console and stuff like that. They're making money where Xbox had to be more, you know, I guess frugal with their money and spending. But the marketing, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to hit. They seem to, the whole thing with Mixer. There's been so many things through the years that just not kicked off, and if anything should have kicked off, it should have been Game Pass. Let's be honest.
I've been seeing lately some actual marketing for Star Wars Outlaws, and I've been seeing it on like NFL games and stuff, preseason games, and I was shocked at that, because I am used to seeing a ton of PlayStation ads and commercials and stuff, but again, PlayStation really doesn't have anything to really market right now. They will soon.
Well, they have
with the
Concord.
PlayStation 5
Who's
Pro.
playing Concord? Everybody in the chat's playing Concord, right? Because right now it's at 0 players.
8 years in the making. But a lot of people are making a big deal out of it. I have news for those people. It's taken 8 years for a lot of studios. The years of doing,
of course.
like I think Rod being what he did with Gears was so amazing at the time. He did that in 3 years, but like people getting 4-year cycles and getting games out, those days are over.
Somebody in the chat, Charlie Hustle. Charlie Hustle in the chat says Tim's talking through a PS5 party chat headset. So it sounds like Tim.
I love you, Charlie. Charlie's a good guy.
Here it is though. Here's another thing that Xbox is messed up on. I don't know for what reason. Okay, there's a lot of speculation out there, but Wukong missed the platform. The biggest game out right now is not on Xbox, but it's on PlayStation and PC. And right now, unfortunately, a lot of Xbox guys are without being able to enjoy the game. And, some people, Tim, somebody in the chat wanted me to ask you your thoughts on this, because I go back and forth with this, especially because initially when I heard some things being talked about, I thought for sure that it was money headed to a certain degree. But the more I'm hearing about it, it could have been a situation where... No, it could have been a situation where Sony paid the Wukong developers to not only sit there and help with them to make their port, but also to get it done faster than Xbox's port.
Yep.
I don't know.
Listen, I think that is possible, but it's also something that's negotiable because of the positions that they're in. And I do think that Sony is a very swift company when it comes to that, or they would do something like that. So I wouldn't put it out of the thing like, oh, they're gonna play nice. They won't. If they can get a big advantage, they're gonna take it. And in this case, it's possible. I don't know, but at least it's not the Boulder Gate situation. Because at all costs, if it's something like that, you have to drop the requirement for the S. You have to get that game out, like on the X or something like that. You can't have these misses. These misses for technology reasons are really bad. But now it's like this could be a new thing, like where if I hope Sony's not doing that, because if they do and it's this successful, they're going to do that to a lot of games. And that's what I do fear too. Is you don't want these games skipping Xbox is not good. Now it's coming supposedly, and hopefully it does. But games like this, you can't have missing the platform because of one, technical reasons, or two, getting out marketed and spend it on it. Like this is a new strategy, which would be scary.
That's another thing too, though, because looking at the game's performance, even on a 4090, it's very GPU heavy here, okay? Uses a lot of VRAM. That, I think, might be a big issue with the Series S because it has less VRAM than the Series X. The GPU is, my GPU, 4090, is being taxed on this game. Like, I have never seen a game push my rig this hard. Hargeet, you haven't booted it up yet, but let me tell you, if you do not have DLSS,
I don't know it yet.
Yeah, if you don't have DLSS and frame gen on, oh, you're getting 40 frames. It's insane. Like,
it's super.
Yeah, so I don't recommend this for console players, but people will play it on console.
It's not
but
bad,
here's the thing. For the average PC player, I would say it's a hard hit. It's you have to have a high-end GPU for this thing to work because they're pushing the graphics. They really are.
They are. And it's Unreal Engine 5. So
it looks tremendous. To be honest, I like just some of the games. It looks really cool. I mean, I was gonna buy it, but I like I said, I think we're talking about pre-show. I didn't. I have a lot of things coming up, so I kind of held off. But I saw the video with Digital Foundry, but it just looks like just really cool. And
yeah, it's fun.
If these games start coming out from Chinese developers like that, that's a very good thing.
Hargeet, you were talking about that. Yeah.
So, look, I've been advocating that we need games outside of the Western Hemisphere and Japan. Right, we've basically just had games coming from that area. And I'm like, we need games coming, big AAA type games coming from these other regions so that they feel like that they actually can participate and that they would want to play this. And you saw the outpour. Now you could say, okay, it's China. The government paid to make that happen. I don't know, man. I think it's really just players who saw a game about their culture and they're like, I want to play that. And they just want to go buy it and play it. At 2 million, just if you say 2 million players, 1.5 million are Chinese. You know how much money they just spent? It's a $60 game. They just spent that much money. It's not like the Steam is going to say, "You're Chinese. We'll give you a break." No. You got to pay the $60, bro. So they're getting $60 for each one of those freaking copies. They've already made their money back on their production budget just in the China sales. Forget the rest. That's what's going on. And that's the kind of thing you want to have. If you want engagement from the rest of the world, you got to make games like this. You got to bring in games from other parts of the world. There's so much more culture than just Europe and America. Yes, we get Japan, but that's not enough. Japan is just Japan. So this is why I've been saying we need to get games from all over the place. And then you'll start seeing a lot more of the other arenas of the world saying, I want to be a part of that. Let me go play that, right? That's what's going to happen. So I'm hoping there's more of this. Both Xbox and PlayStation are doing outreach programs to other areas of the world. That's great. I hope we get more games like this. But this is why I was saying we need to have more games from other countries, right? And this is gonna you'll see this massive adoption, which is fantastic. Fantastic. People are going out and buying PlayStation 5s because they want to play this game in China.
I wonder
awesome.
how long. I wonder how long it's going to take somebody to copy that opening scene on a sequence.
Oh, let me just gush a little bit about the game, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I wasn't going to buy this game just yet because I was happily playing my Red Dead 2 on PC with a bunch of mods and stuff and having a blast. Running through that game again has been awesome, and I'm definitely going to go back to it after I beat Wukong. But I wasn't going to get Wukong yet. And especially I saw performance issues and all that on the PC. I was like, I'll wait for patches because it definitely does have performance issues on everything, okay? It definitely needs some patches. But when I saw part of that opening scene, the opening intro and everything, it blew my mind. I said, this game feels like it's going to be really special. I want to enjoy that day one. I picked it up the next day, actually, after it dropped, and I started playing it, and that intro is so epic, so awesome. And I immediately put it into the Mandarin Chinese because the English dub, I did not care for it at all. The protagonist talking sounded horrible in English. Anyways, straight to the Mandarin. It's an amazing game with the subtitles. I'm good with that. I am having such a blast with Wukong. It is definitely a game that is a bit on the harder side at some points. Sometimes it feels really easy, especially with like enemies you come across as you're just, going from boss to boss, because that's what it basically is. It is more of a boss rush type game. But there's elements of it that does feel like, and I know you've heard this to death, that feel like a God of War type game, even Souls-ish when you're fighting bosses. It gets tough with some of those bosses, really tough. I hit my head up against the wall several times with several bosses, but ended up getting through them third, fourth try, whatever. So I'm on the second chapter. There's 6 chapters, and I am continuously just blown away that Game Science, a developer that has pretty much made mobile games and has been teasing this AAA game now for years, delivered on what they promised, especially in the graphics department. Tim,
Agreed.
it is just, it is gorgeous. Like, I'm just blown away. There's only one thing, and I agree 100% with Digital Foundry.
Well.
With Digital Foundry, I agree with them in one aspect of the graphics I don't care for too much, is they over sharpen things just a bit too much, and it creates
I can see that.
some weird jaggies and stuff. Aside from
Especially with one of the, I don't want to say the boss, but I noticed that what you're talking about. I know you're very aware of stuff like that. You've always had a good eye. You have a real good eye for HDR, and you just like little blemishes and stuff like that. You have a really good eye for, or you understand.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't want to say the particular boss, but it shows on that one boss. But for the game, I think you really said it well. Like from when the start, I remember the first freaking teaser when I saw it. I was impressed, and they showed the graphics. I'm like, no way, it's going to be like that. After the couple of other showings that they had, but they nailed it. And I'm one of the big guys who say gaming needs to have a change a little, needs to be more unique. The art in there is, I would say, top notch, like 10 of 10. It feels like a different type of game, which I like. I have heard people say exactly what you said. They compare it to like God of War or the Souls game, but it's unique in its way, and I have to say it's very it's oozing with creativity. Like the main guy is really cool.
The Monkey King.
Like it's just and just like that, the opening scene, I don't want to hit any spoilers. I just could see that being duplicated. Because what happens is like when new ideas come up or stuff like that in video games, a lot of copying goes on. For whatever reason, it just has happened in the past. But yet that really, this game, I kind of feel like it's underrated too. And then maybe the low scores because of the performance. Because that does not look like, that looks like a borderline 90 game to me. I mean, it is oozing with uniqueness as far, and I think that in this day and age, that's really hard. So the characters and the bosses that I've seen, really well
they're
done.
Really cool. Like and
really
everything.
Cool.
Not even the
I don't even
just the smaller characters and stuff that you have within the game. The attention to detail on every character it's so good. There's rarely textures that I see, because occasionally you will see some textures on a wall or something that aren't as good as the rest of the environment you're in. But man, what a freaking looker. Honestly, the best looking game I've seen by far. And before this, it was Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 was a gorgeous looking, phenomenal game. This definitely tops that. So good. But this just shows you where we're going with Unreal games, okay? With Unreal Engine 5. It's just, it's that powerful. I'm blown away by it. It's fun and it feels good. Like the combat is good. It's not hard to get into. It's not hard to understand the combat. You get your light and heavy attacks. You get some abilities you open up, and you've got your RPG elements there where you can just spec into certain things. And I like it. I like it a lot. It's really good. The only downfall to the game, and this is a big one for me because I love stories. The story is weird, and I mean that. I don't mean to sound like mean about it or anything, but it's just weird, and maybe it's because I'm not in, the Chinese culture. I don't understand a lot of the lore in this. This game or what behind the monkey king, monkey god, whatever he's called. I don't understand exactly what's going on, but man, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens. Yeah. And like the dialogues and stuff sometimes is weird.
You know what? Like you said, they were a mobile studio. If that's the only thing that doesn't come off as like top tier, still a very impressive feat. You know what I mean? Like for where they have the graphics, where they have the design and everything, they nailed it. Maybe that was a portion that's not as redefined, like writers and stuff like that. That cost a lot of money. So maybe that's just something that was like, to me, it does a game personally doesn't have to always have a great story. If it plays just like it does and like what it's going on with Wukong, the way it looks and stuff like that. That's all that I need. I can care less about this.
Yeah, the gameplay definitely trumps the story, and it's so good that you forget about the weirdness that's going on. The dialogue sometimes is so cheesy at times, and just it's ridiculous. But the gameplay is so much fun, and you can sort of understand what's going on just based on you're the hero, they're the bad guys, and they may say some dumb shit here and there, but at the end of the day, you know what you got to do. You got to defeat them. That's all you need to know. And the game itself the gameplay is king, and it's fun. It's awesome.
Is there a dash button?
Yeah, there is. There's a run button. You can use the right bumper, or you can just press down on the left stick, which is what I do. Just press down on the left stick to run. But no, it's a great game, and then you can unlock other things too in the game. The abilities and stuff are really cool. So I've got a lot to open up. I'm only in chapter 2, but it's been a blast. I've pretty much played through all the bosses that you guys have seen, like on Digital Foundry and stuff. I beat those, all the hairy bosses and stuff they were showing. And it looks cool. It looks really good on the 4090 for sure. It looks awesome.
So, Tim, when are you getting the PC?
I have a PC. I like PC. Was it one of you guys? Because I don't know if it was Colt. You had that low voltage issue with the.
That was Colt.
Intel.
Yeah. Oh Colt, no! Right? I had a problem with Intel. I had a problem with Intel
with the low voltage, right?
No. You got to lower the voltage. Yeah. And that is what Intel is. Yeah, Intel is sending out microcode for it now, but Corsair has their own proprietary UI for the BIOS and all that. So I have to wait for Corsair to put out that update. Okay. But in the interim, I've learned how to go into the BIOS myself and change everything. So I've got all my voltages basically to where they're tuning it in their microcode. So I already have it set up that way. But it would be nice to just get the official and just, deal with it that way. But so now my CPU, ever since I've done that, has been great, has been running just fine and not had any crashes or anything. Like it's been really solid.
I remember you talking about it, and I'm going to have to get going because I'm at work.
All right, man. Yeah, I know you were only supposed to give us 45 minutes of your time. You gave us almost an hour and a half, bro.
Fire. I love it. You got a great show here, and like I said, we have good chemistry all over. It was a good show, and I just remember listening to your video about how you say there is a learning curve when it comes to these going PC gaming.
There is.
And then
Tim,
I read about the thing that you were talking about. Yeah. So they patched it, but.
Anybody who says that's on PC and says, it's just as easy as console, they're full of shit.
No.
They're full of shit.
I had a fight
It's
with
not.
Daffy about that.
It's not. And it's not that it's like, oh my God, it's too hard to navigate. No. But it's not as easy as console. There's no freaking way. There's no way. But I love it. Sometimes it is. Sometimes I could just turn on my PC and boot up a game and it just works and everything's cool. But when problems arise, here's the problem. When problems arise on a PC, you have to dig sometimes.
Yes.
You have to figure shit out. You don't have to do that with console.
100% it gets.
Not all the time. There are times
Not
when
all
the
the
console has problems, but they're not nearly as voluminous or annoying.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But thank you, TimDog, for
Sorry, what you
for
asked
coming
me,
through.
you were saying something.
Well, really good, Hargeet. Always great to talk to you. I remember when we first met with the you helped me out with the remember the Xbox.
The Xbox.
To Brazil?
Yep. Yeah.
Which I still I think I got
taxes.
scammed. Honestly, after all that, I think I got scammed. And
no.
It was really it wasn't a scam. It was just like the guy was just really weird about it. Like, what I didn't like was you were telling me the taxes, and you gave it to me like perfectly, and he tried to get me on more money on the things. Like he said, it say it was like $53. He was like, it's 112, and I'm like, and I corrected him. I said no, and it was because of you, because you told me the exact thing. And he says, oh yeah, that's right. And then he paid the thing. So. It was crazy. That was you gave me a lot of help, and I always appreciate that. But honestly, guys, great show, and it's great to see how many people you got coming. Fonz, you really are great, and both of you guys, the show looks great, man, and runs well.
I appreciate you, Tim. You have a good night, brother.
Thanks,
good night, guys.
Later. All right.
See ya.
So Highlander 001, member for 16 months, did not forget it. I put it aside here. He says, when do we get the rest of ABK games to Game Pass? I have no freaking clue. And I think they're going to be drip feeding us.
Dribble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a dribble here and there. We'll get a little bit here and there. I hope we get freaking Modern Warfare 2 soon, because I'm not playing 3's campaign, because I'm like, I think if it like follows from the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. And so I just stopped. I'm like, I'll wait till that comes in so I can play that one first.
Yeah.
So,
Tellus Ray in the chat said that the voice acting is bad. The English part is just it's not great. It's not terrible, but it's just not great. Again, usually if a game is dubbed in English, I'll just leave it on the Japanese or Chinese, whatever country of origin it's from, because usually their actors seem to do a much better job, especially like when you're playing stuff like Yakuza. Oh my God, the English dub sucks compared to that Japanese.
Yeah, I just played it in Japanese. Yeah. It was much better.
Keep getting dislikes. I see people just disliking away. It's funny. On this program, I can see the dislikes and likes. They fly on my screen. So it's funny when it happens. Oh God, Talus says his voice, Yang Ye. I'm not even talking about Yang Ye.
Oh my God,
hey,
that's
congrats to him though. Yang Ye had a big freaking role in that movie that was out recently. Not a big role, but he was on a big movie, small part. Charlie Hessel says Fonz hates English. Confirmed. No, I don't hate English, of course. Come on now. Mav, you stop disliking. He says he'll stop. Anyways, well, it's not the lip sync that's an issue. It's because it's lip synced in Chinese, like the movements of the mouth. So whenever they did the English, they just left it that way.
They just didn't. Yeah, they didn't redo it. Yeah, but I like either way. In a game like that, you're probably gonna miss context either way. So it's up to you. Like you can do the English dub or just read the subtitles.
Yeah.
I think the emotionality is probably going to be better.
That's what
with the original.
Yeah.
And like it's just because it.
Oh man.
Like you're saying, the story's weird to you.
Yeah.
It's not going to be weird to that Chinese person because to them it's second nature, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to know what the internalities need to be and how it's going to actually be emotionally engaging, right? So it's just one of those things, and you don't know if you have somebody who's like American who speaks Chinese right, that's doing the translation may not get the whole thing right. It's just kind of the way it is, right? So the American dub may not be as good. It's just the way it goes.
And I like the traditional Chinese music in it and everything. It's really cool. Like there's this one point where there's this dude just rocking out on this guitar, bling, bling, bling. And the dude, he's just going off. And I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
You guys, if you haven't played Wukong, definitely it's a game to get for sure. When it comes out on Xbox, hopefully it's soon because Xbox gamers should be they need this game. Hopefully by then they'll get like an all patched version, a version that runs a lot smoother than the PlayStation. Smoother,
maybe, yeah. We'll see. And plus there is a bit more capability. Maybe they take advantage of it. It seems like UE5 games tend to do a little bit better on Xbox. So we'll see how well that happens, right? Maybe this has been tuned pretty well for PlayStation. We'll see if it's going to be the same or better, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, Hargeet, that's all I pretty much had to talk about tonight was the big news with Xbox and the Wukong. I just wanted to tell people about Wukong. I don't know if you have anything
really nothing else from Gamescom. You weren't interested in anything else that got announced at Gamescom? It was this minor little thing that happened.
No. Games. Well, it was. Let's be honest. The whole Indiana Jones thing took over. Oh, the other big news. Here's the other part. A lot of people got mad at Towerborne. Towerborne will be in early access on PC.
And I just found out today that apparently they actually had a little graphic saying limited time exclusive on Steam. I didn't even see that. So I don't know how the hell that happened.
So this is a first party Xbox game, right? Going to PC first.
No, it's a IP that they've bought from.
Okay, so it's kind of
Stoic is the one developing it.
Yeah,
so it's a second party, whatever you want to call it, right?
But it's their IP. It just doesn't make sense to me that it's not going to Game Pass until next year, but it's going to be in early access on PC. Again, this is one of those things where
on Steam.
On Steam.
On top of that, on Steam. Which I like. I don't care if it's because you can't, do multiple platforms at a time. Fine, okay, that's fine. But putting that limited time Steam exclusive, that sounds pretty weird to me. Like, why is that happening?
Are they making deals because of the future?
But they can't. The IP is owned by Xbox.
I know, but
so you're saying maybe Xbox is making that deal?
Yes.
Because it would have to be Xbox doing it, right? It'd have to be Xbox doing it.
Everything we're hearing is that Steam may become part of the platform next generation, at least their launcher. So maybe these deals are happening because of the future. Maybe partnerships.
There could be other things going on.
Uh-oh. I didn't say it. That was him. But it's still.
I wouldn't be surprised, by the way.
It still sucks for a lot of Xbox gamers that wanted to play this game on their console. Again, it's another situation.
Preview. I think it was an invite only on Xbox. So there was some opportunity to play it on Xbox. They're now going to the next phase, and they're just doing that on Steam. Which, if they didn't put that limited exclusivity thing, it's like, okay, I don't mind, it's fine, whatever. But because they actually put that graphic up, I'm like,
exactly.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah, why?
Like, well, what is this? And this has to be coming from Xbox because they're the ones who own it. Stoic can't just go do that on their own. So I don't understand what's going on there. That's just, again, like a double slap in the face. Like, why would you do that? Not even put it on like your own Microsoft store and have it there, right? And say, fine, it's in Game Pass and anybody, whatever. And if you want to play it on PC, you're still part of the Xbox part of it. Nope, it's going to Steam. Okay, that's just, again, it just seems weird.
Yeah, and it's like some people are saying, well, they're testing the waters. Testing what waters? What could they possibly be testing by?
Well, that part is what they're saying, right? There's a page about it on their site, and what they're testing is they haven't done any games like this, right? And so they're like, we have to test what we're going to give you with the community, and then say, well, we'll refine the game. And that's why it's in a preview mode. I get all that.
But why? Fine, but Xbox, the Xbox console itself has a preview mode. Like you can play early access games on Xbox.
It's just the focus of doing all the bug fixing on both versus just saying I'm going to do it here and then bring it over. So when is it coming out? Is it next month? When is it? September, right?
September 9th, I believe, or September
9th,
something. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so if it's coming out next month, that means you have like a quarter before it comes out on Xbox, right? At least, so sort of a 3-4 month window where it won't be on Xbox, which again, that's kind of annoying. It is what it is, but I just don't understand why that limited time exclusive graphic had to be there. That's just very odd. Like, I don't understand why that needed to be there.
Yeah, I don't get it either, dude. It just doesn't make sense to me. But Towerborne will not be on your console until next year, unfortunately.
Until next year. Well, probably early next year, but yeah.
It's weird. I don't understand where Microsoft is going with all this. Like, if you want to maximize your profits and everything, I get trying to put
there's no
stuff out on other platforms.
On this one, right? Because this is just free to play, right? I don't know if they're going to be charging anything.
Well, won't there be any kind of microtransactions if it's free to play?
I don't think not
while it's early access.
Well, it's in preview. I don't think they have anything. Yeah, it's going to be actually. They're trying to figure out the feature set. That's all.
I don't know, because I've played some early access games. Oh, but they weren't free to play.
Some of them do,
but they do charge microtransactions in early access on Steam.
But we'll see. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. It's only a few weeks out. We'll find out.
Yeah, a lot of people were looking forward to this.
Well, I mean, okay.
No, Hargeet, this looks like your game right here. You play all these types of games on Xbox. You play these little games.
Brawler multiplayer thingy, right? I don't know. I don't generally.
You play everything on Game Pass. Don't give me that September 10th.
I give everything a chance. That doesn't mean I like it, right? So there's a lot of games that I'm like, okay, I tried it for an hour and this isn't for me. I move on. But this is one of those kind of games I'm like, maybe. I don't know.
Okay,
it just feels like one of those I would give up on, but like their previous games were what the heck was it called? The Banner Saga? Is that what it's called? I think it's the Banner Saga. And I couldn't really play them. I played them for like maybe a half an hour and I'm like, this isn't for me.
Okay, this is interesting. I have Will Broke Boy Lewis with a super chat, $5. Thank you very much, Will Broke Boy Lewis. He says the Towerborne Steam preview will not be free to play. Wow. On full release, it will be free to play. What?
That's just weird.
I looked into it today. So it will not be free to play? How can you take a free to play game and then put it in early access, but charge for early access, then come out and it'd be free to play?
I don't know. This is a weird game, right?
What is going? They really are doing some weird stuff at Microsoft. I'm going to look that up because that sounds weird.
Yeah,
that is weird.
But look, outside of this, like all the negativity crap, we got a Mafia announcement, which looked pretty cool. Like the it's in Sicily, I guess, right? So that looks pretty good. We got a Sniper Elite, which I think is coming to Game Pass. So
yeah, I saw the Sniper Elite, and even though it looks dated as all hell, okay, let's face it. So much fun. Sniper Elite, Hargeet, I'm with you. I was telling Colt as soon as I saw it, I texted him. I go, "They've got another Sniper Elite coming. I can tell. Yep, I can tell it's Sniper Elite because it looks just like all the rest of them." Oh, but yeah. There's something about Sniper Elite games that I love. I've played them all and I've loved them all. They're just they're mindless fun. I love sniping people from a distance. I love it.
You have like little mission objectives on each map, and you're like, all right, I'll just map through here, and I'll spend my time. I like figure out how to get through this without getting alerts. Right? I love it.
Yeah, I did like seeing that for sure. What was probably for you like the best thing you saw there?
I would say Indiana Jones, but here's my problem. They're putting it out in December. And I'm like, wait, so either you don't care that you're not going to get any look at the Game Awards, which means you don't have any confidence that it would actually nominate for anything. Or you're just incompetent. And I think it's got to be that they don't think it's going to have any nominations, because that's why you put it in the dead zone of December. So that just doesn't seem like a good thing. It's like if they don't have confidence in the game, is that game going to be any good? Right. So
yeah, Indiana Jones for me. Okay. And I'm just speaking about, my feelings on the game. Look, I like Indiana Jones movies, so I like the IP automatically. I like machine games. I like the Wolfenstein series. But from things I've been hearing about the game and things I've been seeing in the game, from what little bits we've seen, it almost seems like it's going to be more puzzle focused than action. There's going to be action, but there's going to be a lot of puzzles, and I'm not a huge puzzle fan.
I think, right? It's a lot more puzzle, not as much action. There'll be action here and
there.
So I don't know, and look, that's a very Sony formula, right? And that's fine. I just don't know if it's going to rate well. It's not third person. That's going to push some negativity towards it. It's going to be Xbox, so it doesn't matter no matter what. Even though they're putting on PlayStation, which by the way helps them. It's still going to get some negative marks just because it's Xbox. Their games don't rate that well. Machine games, they're not 90s. I think they're like usually mid to low 80s. So they are already looking at that as a starting point. So I think this is going to rate in the 7s, which kind of sucks, but whatever. So I'm going to still play it, right? I'll give it a chance, but I think they don't have the confidence that like I was hoping they would have in it, but putting it in December just seems like they know it isn't really worth anything. So
that's terrible to hear you say, man. Ugh.
But whatever, I'll play it, but I think it's going to be maybe an okay game.
Yeah, there's which
sucks.
Machine games, there's one thing about them that they just get wrong all the time. And, I love their games, but the way they model their hands are just downright ugly. I don't know what it is, but I know hands, like even I'm an artist myself. I draw and stuff. And hands are one of the hardest things to really capture. I guess it goes the same for video game production because their hands look atrocious all the time. And I've noticed this since Wolfenstein many years ago. And I would always talk about why do they have their hands look off? They don't look realistic enough, but it's just it's tough, I guess. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to it still, though. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, it's not gonna be a good game or anything, or doom and gloom it, because I haven't played it yet. And again, I do like machine games. I like what they've produced in the past. Maybe the puzzles won't be all that bad to me. As long as if they're just easy, quick little puzzles to do here and there, then that's fine. I just don't want to beat my head up against the wall trying to figure out a puzel before I shoot the next bad guy.
I think it's going to be a lot more of that, right? I mean, that's Indiana Jones. It's going to be puzzles, right? It's going to be.
I know.
It's right.
I know, but
you can kind of tell, right? If you like Tomb Raider, if you like, Uncharted, right? That they're based on this, right? So this is going to be very similar.
Yeah,
but
sure.
So I don't know if it's not this. They did announce Borderlands 4, though that trailer was kind of weird.
It was just it wasn't just real quick. It was a teaser.
Yeah,
it's just a teaser.
So I don't know. It's kind of weird, but whatever. At least that's coming at some point, and that's next year, I think. What else? There was Nico Dorico, something like that. The Magical World. It's kind of a platformy game that looks kind of cool. But I think that's also next year, maybe. I don't know if that's coming this year or not. Unknown 9. I've been looking forward to that game for a while.
Me too. That looks good.
They finally have a release date for that, October 18. So that was cool. Arkham is there, but it's a VR only game. So yeah, okay. Was there anything else that was really?
I'm going to put Unknown 9 up on the screen just so people know what we're talking about. Because I've mentioned this before to like Colt and stuff. He's like, "What's that?" Like, this is the game. This is Unknown 9. It's got the girl that played in The Witcher. She played Yennefer in the Witcher series, TV series anyway, Netflix. Yeah. But she's the protagonist, and it's not a huge game or anything, but it looks fun. Not every game needs to be huge.
Yep. yeah, then Genshin coming over. It's not like a game that I'm outright interested in, but it looks like it'll be a big impact, right? No pun intended. So that's coming over to Xbox in November. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know if there's really anything else that stood out. I mean, that's like updates for games I already know, right? So Space Marine 2 is coming.
That looks really good. You know, they're doing a great job at marketing Space Marines too.
Yeah. So yeah, like those look cool, right? But yeah, I think the one that was really that I was really looking forward to was Indiana Jones. But like that December, I was like, oh, okay. So all right, well, we'll see what it is. I think Mafia was a cool thing. I think that one's kind of nice. But Sniper Elite, I think actually is the one that I'm most excited for.
It's funny. It's the same for me, and it's not even like. I'm going to put it up on the screen because it's Resistance, Sniper Elite Resistance. It doesn't even look all that great, but because we know it's like, Sniper Elite.
I love the gameplay.
Exactly. We like the gameplay loop in this game. It's just, for us, it's fun. So I don't know. As soon as I saw this part, right at the beginning with the sniper, I go, that's Sniper Elite.
The slowdown of the bullet. It's like, yep. Sniper Elite. Yep.
I don't know, guys. Chat, do you guys like Sniper Elite games? They're just fun. They're just you can just sit in a party chat and snipe people all day. It's just it's mindless fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. And when does this drop?
I'm hoping Indie's good, but this is the one I'm most excited. This is next year, right? Not this year.
Yeah. Did it get a hard date or just say 2025?
I don't know. Let's see. Sniper Elite Resistance release date. Let's see if we find anything.
Oh, Path of Exile 2 looks really good too.
It's 2025.
Yeah.
It's 2025. Yeah, and it's, by the way, it's a cross-gen, it looks like. It'll be on the Xbox One and PS4 as well.
Of course it is. Look at it. So, it might as well be on the Switch.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's a PlayStation marketed game, huh? That's funny. Oh, no, we're not using all those screens. What the heck? No, it's just me and Geet. That was the RDX screen. Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. Anything else that stood up for you?
No, that was pretty much it. Yeah. We got a Will Broke Boy Lewis $5 super chat says, went to the Steam page for Towerborne. They will charge for early access, full release, free to play. Funds from early access will help with game fixes. So wait, they're funding the game this way.
So this is Xbox has stopped funding the game. That's probably what it is, right?
So this is how they're getting funds.
Oh my god, dude!
And I know some developers do this, but this IP is owned by one of the rich, probably the richest gaming publisher there is.
Yeah, I mean, Tencent might be as far as the revenue
one of them.
higher, but as far as the market value, yeah, obviously Xbox. I mean, Microsoft is bigger.
Oh my goodness! I guess you learn something every day.
Yeah.
Ace Out Gaming, thank you for the $1.99. He says, "Do you think Mafia: The Old Country will be good?"
I hope so. I really do. I hope so. I like the other Mafias.
Yeah, Mafia's great.
Like 3 people kind of bash that
one.
I like that one too.
I love 3.
Yeah, I like
3's great. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. Yep.
Mafia is the only other game that it doesn't, believe me, it doesn't like touch Grand Theft Auto in terms of like open world and all that stuff, but Mafia is just as fun. Like it could be just as fun.
It's good.
It's good stuff.
Now you get to go to Italy. It'll be awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have Steam on my Mac, so I can't go to the Steam page, or I can go to the Steam page and read. I think browser.
It's a web page, steampowered.com or something like that. That's what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. Anything else you want to talk about here?
So I mean, minor update on Concord. I've been checking, and it has had 0 players. It came out in early access. You know how you can buy like premium edition? Yeah, the premium edition came out on Tuesday, and yesterday, and it has had zero players on Steam. 0.
Oh, wow.
That's not a good sign. So that means nobody bought the premium edition. So now we'll see if it full releases. I think on Friday, the 23rd. Yeah, Friday. So we'll see if anybody plays it. It's not looking good so far. However, if you look at the reviews, it's mostly positive. So I don't know what that means, but there's not a lot of reviews either. But
Hargeet, they're asking $24.99 for free-to-play game Towerborne Silver Editions pack. But you can go for the Gusto $44.99 and get the Gold Founders pack. No, thank you. This is a free-to-play game, and
yes,
I would not. Why early access? Okay.
Yeah, you have all the baloney there, right? But
yeah,
man, but now we understand why they're doing this is because they need money, and Xbox is like, we paid you enough. Go figure.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's weird, people. But at the end of the day, Microsoft is doing some weird things lately. I can't make heads or tails of it. And I've spoken to certain people in the know. I've spoken to people that know actual Xbox employees and talk with them all the time. And nobody seems to know why they're doing certain things that they're doing, but they're doing them. I don't know.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to see didn't happen, which was them buying.
Here we go.
The Stalker developer, GSC.
Yeah.
That would have been such a cool moment. But of course, they had the much better moment, which is to tell Xbox players to fuck off, and we're putting your game on PlayStation 5. Have a nice day.
Pretty much. It could be worse. They could be putting out another Redfall. Or they could be putting out Concord and nobody's playing it. It could be that bad. That's sad.
Look, I think a lot of this has to do with Machine Games as well. I don't know if I mentioned all that or not, but like Machine Games is in Sweden, I think, and there might be 100 consoles for the Xbox.
Oh god, that's right.
So they will. Did you hear them? Right, the head of that, like he's like, we are so happy to announce that we'll be releasing this game on PlayStation.
No, I didn't hear it.
The fact that it's coming to Xbox. Didn't even mention the fact that it's coming to Xbox. Didn't care.
Wow.
Right? And like, tell me that they didn't push to have this thing be put on PlayStation. Come on. Right? Come on. They obviously are ponies. There's no way around it.
They're ponies. Oh, yeah. Machine 100%. Games are ponies. Yeah. Well,
100%. Like, tell me they're not. Like, you think if their friends are all Xbox players? Hell no.
They're owned by.
They want their friends to play their game.
Xbox, though. They need to fall in line. They better toe that line.
Yeah. Good luck.
Hold the line.
You see that happening in that world? No way.
No.
Like they don't even like they haven't even met their freaking the milestones for Game Pass. Who got fired? Come on. They're gonna listen to them. Oh, okay. We need to put it on PlayStation. Okay, we'll put it on PlayStation.
Right now. Concord, it's being touted as being dead on arrival. Day one, open beta peaks at 2,000 concurrent players.
Yeah, well, that was the beta. Yeah. Now
that was 1 month ago. That was 1 month ago. That's right.
Yes. So if you go to
not seeing any of the.
Hold on. I'll tell you. I'll tell you the site you go to. It's steamcharts.com, right? Which just charts Steam players. That's where you get the player counts.
Yeah.
So if you go to steamcharts.com, it's not charting obviously, but you can just search for games and you search for Concord. Zilch. 0 players. I've been checking for the last day. 0 players.
Are they having problems? Maybe they can't boot in the game. Maybe it's got issues.
We would have heard, right? We would have heard. There would have been articles. Oh, Concord players having issues playing. There would absolutely be articles like, "What? No, I don't think so."
Infinite number said, Infinite asks, "Is Xbox gamers still holding the line?" I hope not. I mean, look. He said, "Are Xbox gamers still holding the line?"
Holding the line for what specifically? Are Xbox gamers still holding like?
It means
as far
believing
as-
in Xbox, and they're going to come through with, you know, amazing exclusives and all this stuff. Like, just
Well, I don't know about exclusives. They're going to give you games though.
Here's
Game
the
Pass
thing.
could still have a lot of good stuff in it. So that's all I care about.
Yeah,
Do I get more games in Game Pass? Hell yeah.
and I could say this way because I really don't have an emotional tie to their plastic box. But I will say, Xbox as a brand isn't dying. Like, people saying Xbox is dying is stupid. Okay, if anything else, they're going to get bigger. They will be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, third-party publisher there is. Especially if they continue to buy more, if they continue to get more studios and stuff, they're going to be massive on that front. Now, Xbox consoles in the future, sure, they'll sell less and less of them. That's going to happen, of course. Will they still make them? I believe so, as long as there's some demand for them, which there seems to be in North America at least. I still say you're going to get your Xbox consoles, no problem. But their thought process is put our games everywhere to maximize our profits. That's the end of the day. That's what they want at the end of the day. They're a big business. They're going to become a huge publisher. Outside of that, though, like, yeah, if you're one of those guys that just wants to protect all your games from going elsewhere and you hate Sony so much or whatever, Hargeet, you hate Sony so much? No.
Yeah,
you got to get out of that. Yeah, you got to get out of that
those
mindset.
Sony games are on my PC. So they've given up too. Because I'm playing PlayStation games on my PC. I don't have PlayStation 5 anymore. So that's just the way it is.
Eventually.
They gave up too.
Yeah, eventually, yes. You know, and Alex says it all the time. Oh, no, it's Alex. Your games eventually are coming to us on PC. It's just the facts. They are doing that as well. And we're talking, we're talking, yeah, but we're talking games that are like your big franchises. We're talking God of War. We're talking The Last of Us. We're talking major IP, Uncharted. You don't even have those, going to PlayStation or whatever yet from Xbox. I don't think those, like Halos and stuff, I don't think are going to go to Xbox anytime soon. Maybe Master Chief Collection. I don't know. That might happen, but newer Halos, newer Gears. But anything can happen. Anything can happen.
So the Astro game is the only game so far that is PS5 only. So
yeah, and
since Jim Ryan left, everything they've released is day and date PC. And one of them is day and date Switch as well. But Astro is the only game that's exclusive to PlayStation 5 so far.
Yeah. And they're going to stagger their releases on PC. They're not day and date right yet on the Sony side like Xbox, but eventually I see that happening too.
But like everything they've put out since Jim left has been.
Yeah. Well, it's been gas. It's been gas games though.
No. They have Until Dawn coming. They had another.
Oh, that's right. Until Dawn. But that's a remaster though, Hargeet. That's a remaster. Or a remake. Whatever.
Remaster, I think.
But it's good for PC gamers and anybody looking to go PC. You seriously, if you're an Xbox guy and you're like upset or whatever, just as Hargeet said, get out of that mindset. Go buy yourself a PC and enjoy all their games at high fidelity, and forget about the console plastic war and stuff. I don't know. But if you just want to enjoy the console, buy their next console, enjoy it. You don't have to leave it. That's why I was kind of talking to Tim about it. Like,
what's the specific issue? Like the whole line was about ABK, right? That was the whole point of the whole line was we're not going to give up on ABK.
Yeah,
and so what do we have to give up on? There's nothing to give up on. They own it. Now there's what's the next big acquisition? So we'll just have to wait.
Simon Smith in the chat says, just joined. Did I miss the cope? Yeah, you missed it because it didn't happen. Sorry. There was no cope. You missed TimDog though. TimDog had a lot to say.
It was a good conversation, man.
Yeah, very good conversation. Tim's always... Yeah, that's why it was good to hear from him. super chat from Will Broke Boy Lewis, $5. Thank you very much. He says, Dreamcast guy, let me put it up on the screen. Dreamcast guy said, don't buy Concord. It's terrible. And he loves everything PlayStation, so it must be bad. Maybe Steam doesn't count early access. No, they do. They count early access because I've played several games early access that they've counted. Played a couple of games a lot, man. Put a couple of early access titles.
I mean, Pal World counted. Pal World was early.
Oh yeah,
access.
Pal World. But I played that on Xbox. But on Steam, there was a couple of games I played.
It counted on Steam. It was a lot, like 10 million, something, 15 million players, something ridiculous.
Oh,
so,
crazy numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, guys, we're going to end the show here. It's already been a couple hours, and I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and especially my co-host, Hargeet, Chani, and, of course, TimDog, the guest tonight was amazing. It was good to hear from him, but Hargeet, let everybody know where they can get the book, where they can get your channel, where they can get you, Hargeet. Where can they buy you?
Buy me?
Buy you, the doll.
Want to buy my book?
There's an American doll coming out. It looks just like Hargeet. You can put a little cowboy hat on him and everything.
Why not? Book is available at shop.johnny.us if you want to check it out. My channel is HargeetJohnny1 if you want to subscribe. That's on YouTube. And then I'll be on, I think, Night Shift. That's probably the next one. On Friday at 7 p.m. There's too many freaking things. So check that out, 7 p.m. US Eastern Time on Point for Gamers.
All right. Well, with that said, I want to just tell everyone out there listening, thank you for listening on all the streaming platforms. I appreciate you too. But come on by this channel here at Fonz Gaming on YouTube and check out the live because we have a great time here and you can be, seen in the chat. And that's always cool. Anyways, until next time, game on.